Alright, so today we're looking at equations of circles. And the standard equation of a circle, if the center of that circle is at the origin, or the point 0, 0, right there where the x and y cross, is just x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So in order to write the standard equation, if the center is at the origin, all you have to do is be able to figure out what the radius is, and then square it and plug it into the equation. Now, if the circle's center is not at the origin, then it's going to be at a point that will be designated as HK, and we'll have a radius of r, so it'll be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So this h and k will come straight from the center. So once we know what the center is and the radius, then we can build the equation of that circle. So first example, write a standard equation of a circle with center at -5, 0 with a radius of 4.8. So that center is -5, 0, which is our HK point, right? So our H is the -5. The K is 0. So if we just plug it into that standard equation format, it's going to be x minus the h term, which is -5 squared, plus y minus the k, which is 0 squared, is going to equal the radius, which is 4.8 squared. So go through and simplify it a little bit. X minus -5 will become x plus 5 squared. Y minus 0, we're subtracting 0, it's just y squared. And if we square 4.8, it's going to give us 23.04. So that's our equation. X plus 5 squared plus y squared equals 23.04. Alright, so this next one is a little bit more complicated. It says the point 2, 1 is on a circle whose center is 4, 3. Right, their standard equation of the circle. So we know where one of the points is that's on the circle, and we know what the center is, but they did not give us the radius, which our center takes care of the h and k. But we need our radius, and in order to find the radius, we've got to figure out what the distance is between our center point 4, 3 and the point that's on the circle 2, 1. So to do that, we're going to use the distance formula. So square root of x of 2 minus x of 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. So that'll give us the radius, or the, since that's distance, that will be the same thing as our radius, right? It'll be the distance between the center and one of the points on the circle. our radius then is going to be x2 minus x1. So 4 minus 2 squared. And then y2 minus y1. 3 minus 1 squared. So 4 minus 2 is going to be 2 squared. 3 minus 1 is 2 squared. So our radius is going to come out to be the square root of 8. And then we can use that along with our h and k. And now we can build the equation of the circle. So we're going to have x minus h, so x minus the 4 squared, plus y minus k, which is the 3 squared. And that's going to equal the radius square root of 8 squared. So the final equation, x minus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals, when we take the square root of 8 and we square it, the square just cancels out the square root. So we'll just have 8 there. Alright, so then the next one, we're actually going to graph the equation. Graph x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 4. Alright, so first we figure out what the center is, which is HK. Now, one thing we have to make sure of that we're careful about is, since the equation of the circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, since it's supposed to be a negative sign in front of the h or the k, when we pull our h and k out of an equation, whatever the sign is in the equation, we're going to use the opposite sign for our h or k. So we got x minus 3, so our h term is going to be positive 3. Our k term, since it's y plus 1, so that's plus 1, we're going to change the sign and it'll be a negative 1 for our k. So our center at HK is actually going to be the point 3, negative 1. So on our graph, we can mark over the 3 on the x, down to negative 1. Okay. And our radius, from the equation, we know r squared is equal to 4. That's what we have after the equal sign, is the radius squared, right? So to figure out the radius, take the square root, and our r is going to be 2. So we go mark to the left 2, to the right 2, up to and down to. That's free-handed scale I drew there, so if I use a compass, this probably won't hit all those points perfectly, but my circle will look prettier. So. Might be a little. My scale's not perfect, but I get the idea. Could have free-handed my circle. Not quite as pretty of a circle, but it hits all my points that way. Alright. So the next one tells us the equation of a circle is x minus 13 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals 9. And 3 points are located as follows. You got point A, which is 0.56, B, which is at 14.8, and C is at 29. Which point is in the circle? So one of those 3 points will be in the circle. So the question is which one? Which the easiest way to do that is to just graph it all. See which point would end up in there. So the points, you got A at 5 on the X, 6 on the Y. There's point A. Point B is at 14 on the X, 8 on the Y. And C is at the point 29. It's 20 on the X, 9 on the Y. Alright, so one of those 3 points should be in the circle. And if we graph the circle, our H and K values, it's X minus 13, so opposite values, positive 13 for our H. Y minus 6, so it's going to be a positive 6 for the K. So my center is the point 13.6. And we know r squared for the radius is equal to 9. Take the square root of both sides there. See that the radius is 3. So center at 13.6. With the radius of 3. At this point, probably don't even really have to draw it in the circle, but might as well. Drawing the circle, point B is the only one that is in the circle, so which point's in the circle? Point B, right? And that's all of them.